Hello, BookTube. I'm going to do a book haul of some books I've gotten recently, the thrift store finds. And then right at the end, I'll do a little bit about one of my latest projects, reading projects. So all these books that I got in the haul were $1 a piece. They're they range a bit in subject matter, obviously, but I'll start right off. So uh, Haruki Murakami, and it's called After Dark. It's one of these trade size paperbacks. It's from Vintage. Um, After Dark, a gripping novel of late night encounters. Murakami's trademark humor and psychological insight are distilled with an extraordinary harmonious mastery. 19-year-old Mari is waiting out the night in an anonymous Denny's where she meets a young man who insists he knows her older sister, thus setting her on an odyssey through the sleeping city. In the space of a single night, the lives of a diverse cast of Tokyo residents, models, prostitutes, mobsters, and musicians collide in a world suspended between fantasy and reality. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And then, next thing I got is one of these Norton Critical Editions. This says second Norton Critical Edition. This is Fathers and Children. When I read it, the translated title was Father and Sons, but I guess this is more accurate. This translated and edited by Michael Katz, who I have other Russian language books that have been translated into English by him. So one thing you do that a lot of people warn you about with these Northern Critical Editions, they've got the critical apparatus, so they're really nice to have, and introductions and all that, but you always have to look for the highlighting or the underlining or all that, because they use as college text. This one's pristine, so I was very happy to find that. So that'll be a reread for me, but one after a lot of decades. This next one, The Legacy of Rome, a new appraisal, edited by Richard Jenkins. This is full of different articles. The original version of this, so this is a new appraisal. The original version of this came out in the 1920s from Oxford. And this is an updated version, re-edited. There's also a volume, which I'd love to find, of The Legacy of Greece. So these will have articles, and this one came out in 1992, like I say, Oxford University Press. So it has The Legacy of Rome, Transmission of Texts, which I'm really interested, by R.H. Rouse, Middle Ages, the Renaissance, Virgil, Pastoral, Horace, Ovid, and others, satire, drama, rhetoric, art, architecture, language, law, and the city of Rome. Now, these are the legacy. So this is after how all this stuff has happened after Rome fell. So if you're looking for a history of ancient Rome, this is not it. It's more, say the transmissions in the text during the medieval times, or how we look at the poet now, or one of those types of things. So it's a little different. That's why I'd like to find the one on the Greece. I'm going to wobble here a little bit as I put some of these books up. So apologize for that. The next one is Isaac Stern, My First 79 Years, written with Chaim Potok, the famous novelist, wrote Asher Lev, My Name is Asher Lev, The Chosen, and a few other things. Isaac Stern, I collect vinyl, and Isaac Stern's one I'm always on the lookout for. He knew everybody, was very influential, 20th century, especially classical music. He had a big role to play in saving Carnegie Hall when I think it was going to be torn down to put in a high-rise or something. So should be very interesting. I like these kind of biographies. They're straight up with you right off the bat here that he may have had a lot to do with writing it, but they got a professional writer to do this, so it might be a good thing. But so I'll read this as I listen to the albums. And then finally for the book haul, this book I had when it first came out, and it's definitely due for a reread. I have no idea what happened to my original copy. This is Lincoln by David Herbert Donald. Nice hardback with the deckled. Oh, I don't know if you can see it, but with the deckled edges. Glad to find this. Like I say, I don't know why I don't have it in my collection already. When did this thing come out? Because I got it new. Let's see. That was first edition. 1995. So this had quite a lot of coverage when it came out. Donald wrote a lot of stuff on Lincoln. So really looking forward to putting this on my shelf and going back to it. So that's it on the book hauls. So what do we got here? Let's see. I'll bounce the camera around again here. Try not to do it too much. So let's go here. Make one of these Steve pyramids right there. So not too bad. Here, I'll put them over here. Everything's just doomed to collapse in this room. Just not a lot of room. I'm not going to be able to do that. I'll just grab these. And yeah, one went on the floor. So the other thing I did, been doing, and just starting to get into, because of a conversation with a friend of mine, I interlibrary loaned this book. I do not own this book. I think it goes for like $120 on the internet. So I won't own this book unless and the odds of me seeing it in the wild are slim to none. This is, I'm not going to pronounce the name correctly. Ermine L. Elgier the fourth is the author. And this is part of a series, the American Philosophy series. And the series editor is John J. Kaag, Kaag, who he's written a lot of books, but he wrote a wonderful book. I think it's American Philosophy was called. One of my favorite books that I've read in the last 5 years. It's the story of finding this cabin or cottage in the New Hampshire woods that had held the collection of a very famous philosopher, early 20th century, I think, philosopher. I think from the school of pragmatism. This building was loaded with books, and how they got rescued and the journey of the author philosophically doing it. It was a great book if you ever run into it. So it's probably easy to find under John J. Kaag, and then I think it's American Philosophers. Anyway, so I was surprised to see him on this. The book is reconstructing the personal library of William James, famous brother of Henry James, the famous James family. Trying to think. So he wrote. He was like a Renaissance person almost, and still very influential. Did books on philosophy, psychology, The Varieties of Religion is a famous book of his also. So I've always felt like I needed to get a little more into his stuff, and this has stories about. Well, not just stories. This is a bibliographer's book, and I'm a librarian, so I read a lot of stuff like this. But here, let me see. So this is like a couple pictures of his personal library. I don't know how good you're going to be able to see that. This is only one half of the room from two different angles. And this picture, I think, was taken about the 1920s. Actually, might say 1923. Of his personal library, which I'm guessing after reading a little bit, numbered about 10,000 copies. And it was wide-ranging because he was very much a scattered all over the place guy, even though he's accomplished in a lot of things. So I've been reading it, and it made me go back to my shelves and picked this up. This is William James in the Maelstrom of American Modernism by Robert D. Richardson, who is the author of Emerson and of biography of Henry Thoreau. And this writer I really, really enjoy. So I picked this up, a little dust bunny on it, off my shelves and had never gotten to it. I picked it up because of the author and the subject, but now that I'm looking at the subject matter, I'm just beginning this. I'm on page 29 and already fascinating, already into it, and the fascinating figures. So that's what I'll be spending my time doing. Just getting my voice back. I've been ill for about a week and a half. So, and the summer's turning out to be really beautiful here in Vermont, and so I need to get outdoors more. So I'll be doing that this afternoon a little bit. But I hope everybody's doing well, and thank you, BookTube.